Okay, I think we're back here. NBA Tuesday, NBA Thursday. NBA Thursday is the day that we talk about the NBA Western Conference. Now, I will be going over some of the games that went on last night, and there are I think 12. There's like 12. 12, 12, 12. 12 is what's happening here. And we'll just kill the music and get right into it. Okay. All right. Let's go. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry for slowing things down here. I'm looking at my screen, and I was expecting my special guest, Eric James, to show up. But let's start off with your team and my team. The 18-time world champions, or maybe, 17-time world champion, Boston Celtics. Okay, Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics played the Detroit Pistons, and what did they do? They won. They won 128-112. They did this in the Boston Garden, which made it even easier, I guess. I don't know. But they did it in the Boston Garden. They looked good doing it. Okay. Jason Tatum had 30. Jaylen Brown had 31. And let's see. And who else? Okay, 31. Al Horford had 13. Yeah, that's not very good. 31. Somebody else has got to score on that team. And I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to start doing it quickly in order to get it up to par, because they need some other reliable scorers to come in. And if one guy is scoring 30 and the other one is scoring 30, then what should happen is somebody else should be getting 20 and somebody else should be getting 15. And then you should have a couple of other people coming in for 10 or 12 or something to that extent and getting it done. But it's all about getting it done. That's the most important thing, getting it done. They won 128-112. I don't think it was very close. They outscored them, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. They really didn't outscore them that badly. It was just an accumulation. They both scored 33 points in the fourth. So the Celtics were already up by a certain amount. Anyway. And let's see. Mr. James has arrived.
Hey.
Okay, here we go. The man in the hat. The cat in the hat. I just did the Celtics. We're going to move on because there's going to be a couple of more teams we have to get to. And we're going to save the Lakers for last, since this is the Western Conference. Next game we want to discuss is the Nuggets. The Nuggets versus the Pacers. Now, the Nuggets they won in Indianapolis. So they went to Indianapolis and they beat the Pacers 122-19. It was a close game. But what's important here is Denver Nuggets are in fourth place in the West. They have an 8-3 record. They're pretty good this year. They're pretty good. Let's see who they got. They got Aaron Gordon, the Joker, and that guy Murray. So, and they're pretty even. I'm looking at the points. Gordon had 18. Michael Porter Jr. had 17. Joker had 24. Murray had 18, and Caldwell had 15. So all the starters are in double figures, and that's actually the best way that you want it. You want everyone in your starting lineup to get in double figures if you can. Indiana, on the other hand, where are they at? Indiana is number 10. They're only 5-6, and this shows why. They lost at home, but the Nuggets are a good team. They have a guy named Halliburton. He had 21. I think he used to be with another team, but it doesn't matter because they lost. You have anything to chime in on that one?
No.
Okay. We'll move on to the Suns and the Timberwolves. The Suns were in the finals 2 years ago.
Yeah.
With, let's see. Where's my man? The guy who's always frowning and crying, Chris Paul. Chris Paul did not play because of a right heel.
He's out injured. Yeah.
He's out injured. Okay, they have Aiton. He only had 9. Bridges had 31. Devin Booker. Now that's the guy who's carrying that team. He had 32 points.
He's really never established himself yet. He's still trying to get there.
The Suns. Let's see where they are. Oh, they're second in the league. So in standings, they're second in the league. So they're doing good. Devin Booker, didn't he score 70 points against the Celtics? I think he did. I think he scored 70 points against the Celtics. When he came into, I think, the Boston Garden, and he just went crazy on them. So Devin Booker's been the guy carrying that team. Not only that, they got Bismack Biyombo. And Bismack didn't score any points. he was a top draft pick of Michael Jordan. Oh, Bismack was. But Devin Booker, and they got another guy, Payne, who scored 23. I think it's Chris Payne. I'm not, but I know they have Aiton, Bridges, and another guy named Craig. They won that game 129. Oh, this is okay. They're a pretty good team. They won 129 to 117, playing the Timberwolves, Minnesota. They played Minnesota in Minnesota and beat them by 12. That's when you're a good team, when you can go to another team's home court and beat them by double figures. You are bringing something then. And that other team, and Timberwolves are actually a good team. They have Karl Anthony Towns and some other good players. They picked up Rudy Gobert, and apparently they didn't have much of a game. You know what? Let me look at that stat a little bit there, as far as that goes. Yeah, Towns just had 11. Rudy Gobert had 25. Well, 25, and Anthony Edwards, he's a pretty good player. He only had 11. Well, let's move on. We don't want to keep the fans waiting for the grand finale. How about the Trailblazers at the Hornets? Portland Trailblazers played the Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan's team, in Charlotte. And the Trailblazers won 105 to 95. That's a surprise, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Charlotte is 3-9 this year so far. The Trailblazers are 8-3. And they beat them 105 to 95. They went into another team's gym and beat them by double figures, which means they were up more than that. And they allowed the other team to come back with it, to make it look presentable. So they probably was up by, 18, 20. And Charlotte chipped it away down to 10 at the end, and nobody cared.
They probably took the starters out, too.
Took the starters out. You guys take a rest. We're on the road. Who does Charlotte have? They have Terry Rozier and Mitchell Plumlee. So there you go. And Kelly Oubre. So there we go right there. We have an understanding of why they're not doing very well. But Michael Jordan, he's happy. He's happy. As long as Mike's happy, I'm happy. If he doesn't mind putting out this team, everyone else is happy too, because they can go to Charlotte and get a win.
Well, how long does Mike own that team?
It's got to be like 15, 20 years now, hasn't it?
Really? That long?
Yes. Yes. And because Charles Barkley actually mentioned that Mike, is not doing a great job with the Hornets, Mike won't talk to him anymore. Mike's pissed off that somebody told the truth. I don't think that's, it's a secret that Mike is not making great personnel decisions. Well, anyway, I don't know if he's making great personnel decisions. I just know they're losing, and they don't seem to have any star talent. That being said, have you looked up how long Mike has owned that team?
Since 2010.
12 years.
Yeah.
12 years. They haven't even sniffed the playoff in 12 years.
Yeah, something's wrong. Something wrong.
They've come close to sniffing it. Okay. Next up,
That subject.
we got the Milwaukee Bucks.
Hold
Milwaukee
on.
Bucks were taking on the OKC. Okay, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they won. They beat the OKC in OKC, 136-132. And your man, Brook Lopez, the Statue of Liberty, just as a male, had 24 points. Now, Brook is the epitome of what the Senators have become. He's a 7-foot guy who scores more from the three-point line than he does inside. He had 24 points. Where's Giannis? What the heck? Giannis didn't play.
No, he's out injured.
Well, and they still won. So that's even better. I mean, they won without Giannis. And I think without his brother too. His brother didn't play. I think his brother is on that team. Not that he plays even when maybe he'll get to play now. Now they got to have one Antetokounmpo in there. Antetokounmpo in there. So maybe Giannis will actually get a chance, but no, I don't see that. I don't see the Giannis play. And who do they have for the Oklahoma City Thunder? Some guy scored 30. Sean Gilgeous. Oh, this guy's name, something Sean Gilgeous. He had 39 points. He went to town on him. And I wish I could pronounce his name correctly, but since I can't, we're not going to belabor the point and just make a further fool of myself. But you know who you are. And by next session, next Friday, next Thursday, I'll have your name so I can just get it off the tip of my tongue and make it sound good. Let's move on. The Dallas Mavericks, they went to Orlando and played the Magic. Now, the Magic are they're 3-9 now, but they only had won 2 games. And the Mavericks, they're kind of middle of the pack. They were 6-3, now they're 6-4. 1-3 away. Let me see what happened here. Doncic had 24. Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, there's a name that keeps popping up when you least expect it. Spencer used to be with the Nets. He showed out for the Nets, but the Nets had got Kyrie, so they deemed Dinwiddie expendable. He went to Dallas, and he has been showing out for Dallas. He actually led them with 29 points. But the rest of the team, after him and Doncic, Finney Smith only had 8. Bullock had 0 points. Dwight Powell only had 2. So there's a good reason why they lost. Let's look at some of these field goals percentages. Now, Dinwiddie was 9 for 19. But Luka Doncic was 9 for 29. He shot the ball 29 times and only made it 9 times. There goes your game right there. There goes your game right there. The guy shot you off the game. Your so-called star needs to know how to get off the ball. Anything you want to add? Let's see for the Magic. Who do they have down there? Now, they have nothing but, you know what, this guy, Ball, he's as skinny as a toothpick. But he's got a lot of good talent. He blocks shots. They got a guy named Wagner and Carter.
Who's that?
There, 12. So they have a pretty good team going forward.
Hampton and Harris.
Which one do they have?
Hampton Harris.
Yeah. Banchero is one of their rookies. He played 30 minutes, but he only had 6 points. But he came off the bench. He's probably hitting that rookie wall after about 12 games, which is what it is.
Yeah.
Ball was 5 for 9. You like to see things at least half. I like to see a player score at least half of the shots that he took. And if he does 3/4 of that, then he's really efficient.
But he exceeded the first time he played past 20 minutes. So he's still building.
Yeah. They got him in there. The Magic, they're going to be dangerous by the end of the year once the rookies hit the wall, fall down, and get back up again. Okay, the Pelicans and the Bulls. Now the Bulls have been pesky, but the Pelicans, they're actually 6-5 and they're 4-4 away, so they're doing half the games away. Came into Chicago and beat the Bulls. All the way from New Orleans, straight up to Mississippi, right to Chicago, and beat them. Unbelievable. That shows you that the Bulls aren't focused when they let another team just, well, they only won by 4 points, but still, that's something you should win. Zion Williamson had 22, had 19. Brian Ingram, who used to be with the LA Lakers before LeBron deemed that he was not part of the future and shipped him out, had 22. Jose Valanciunas, he was with New York when they had Phil Jackson there. Didn't work out. He had 21. So these guys are actually a proven team. They can go to another team's gym and beat them. DeMar DeRozan had 33. Zach LaVine had 23. And Nikolai Vucevic. You know, these Western European guys, they're just killing me with their names. But then again, the American guys kill me too.
Don't do it.
He had 18. Actually, I expect more. Goran Dragic only had 14 points. Okay. So Goran comes off the bench, and I like him coming off the bench because he gives you a shot. He's a lefty, and he has problems. Now let's get to the matchup game of the East. The matchup game of the East was actually not the Celtics. It was the Knicks going up against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they claim that, okay, the Nets were the home team, but really, that's like when LA Lakers play the LA Clippers, as we're going to get to. The Clippers were the home team, but LA is the Lakers are the visiting team, but they don't have to go anywhere. So those are two games that they never have to travel. I think it might be 4 games. They might play just 4 or 8 games a year where they never have to travel. They're actually home games where other teams really have to travel for their home games, end up at somebody's gym after being on the plane. LA and Brooklyn and New York, they get a free pass on this crap. They never even have to leave the freaking city.
Yeah, they just want to level off their stats because New York, Brooklyn was 5-6 now. Brooklyn's 5-7, and New York is 5-6.
Well, let's get to this game here. Now, I picked the Knicks to be a rough and tough team, especially since they didn't have to travel. But they just laid down and dogged it for the Brooklyn Nets. Laid down like a dog.
Now, was it that, or was the Nets played better without our brother?
Our brother? You know, it's your brother, man.
That's our brother.
It's not my brother, man. Whenever anybody needs something, they become your brother, man.
There you go. That's our brother there. He's in need right now.
He's a brother, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's been said, but obviously they play better. Obviously, because Kevin Durant can get the ball whenever he wants. He doesn't have to share it, which is a darn good thing for Kevin because he had 29 points. And dig this, on 10 for 19 shooting. Shot the ball 19 times, made it 10 times. When you shoot 50% and above, your team generally wins.
Yeah.
And everyone did that across the board here. O'Neal, Claxton, I love Claxton. Harris, Summer, they got is it Marcus or Markeith coming off the bench? One of the Morrises, I have no idea. You can't tell them apart. I think they sub in for each other. And there was another guy named Curry came off the bench for the Brooklyn Nets and had 23 points. Shooting guard. So they did good. And for the Knicks, the only people who showed up was Brunson, which really was Julius Randle. He was 7-15. Brunson was 4 for 14. The shine is going to wear off on him quick. He's a volume shooter, and he only had 14 points. RJ Barrett, he played 30 minutes. He was 5 for 14. Shooting bricks. He only had 16 points, and New York went down in defeat in Brooklyn. 112 to 85. And moving on down the line, we have the Rockets against the Raptors. Now, the Rockets traveled to Toronto to play the Raptors, and as should happen, the Raptors won. That's right. They won in their home gym against the Rockets. But then again, the Rockets are only 2-10. They were 2-9 before they played this game, and after the game, they were 2-10. And the Raptors, well, they're just the middle of the pack right now. They're at 7-5, but they're good enough at home. They're 5-1 at home, and good enough to beat the Rockets. That's for darn sure. Eric Gordon had 10. Is he still playing? The Houston Rockets. I'm not too sure who they have on the Houston Rockets. I'm looking at these names, and nothing jumps out at me. But I do know who Toronto has. Anobi, he had 27. Van Vliet had 32. Gary Trent Jr. had 11. And Barnes had 13. So they did okay. Where's the other guy who's usually right up there in points? He didn't play. He must be out injured. Phonetic guy. Well, you know what? I won't have to mess up your name because I don't know it. Pascal Siakam. Where Siakam? He didn't play. So the Raptors beat the Rockets without Pascal Siakam. I don't know if that's good for the Raptors or really does it say that the Rockets are just that bad. Let's just say it's a combination of both. And moving down the line, the last game that we're going to cover before we talk about the Western Conference, the Jazz took on the Hawks. The Utah Jazz, who are leading the West, went into Atlanta and just slapped around those toothless Hawks, 125 to 119. Yes, sir, Bob. Our old friend Kelly Olynyk had 14. Larry Markinson, who was Chicago, and Chicago didn't want to pay him, didn't think he was good enough to play with them. He's with Utah now. He had 32 points. Clarkson. Now, Clarkson played with LA. They didn't want him. He had 23 points. And now he's balling out. They have Connolly and Vanderbilt. Sexton. Oh, Sexton. Oh, how did he get there? He was with Cleveland. Okay, Mike Beasley. There's an M. Beasley. I don't think it's Michael Beasley. But he had 18. So Utah's just balling out over there in the West. They lead the West with a 10-3 record. And they played Atlanta. And Trae Young had 22. Murray had 26. Collins had 15. Hunter had 22. And somebody else had 15. Clint Capella. Our old friend Clint Capella from the Houston Rockets had, whatever he had. It didn't matter because they lost.
Come on, man.
And, all's good. All's good. It's all good. So Atlanta is not ready for prime time. Actually, the Jazz are pretty good. The Jazz are leading the West. So now we can move on to talk about the last team that we're going to talk about before we move on to the thing. And that's the LA Lakers played the LA Clippers in LA. So neither had to go anywhere in order to play the team that they're supposed to use, the home or away team. And as everyone surely knows by now, the Los Angeles Lakers lost again. Yes, again. They are now 2-9 with the highest payroll in the history of the NBA. And everyone in Fakerland is having a conniption. What do we do? What do we do? Should we trade AD? Should we trade Russ? And I was looking on the bulletin boards as I was, prepping for this. Some guy said, well, there was somebody said, let's trade LeBron. And he got a reply saying, we can't trade our best player. If LeBron, if a guy who's chasing stats and doesn't play defense is your best player, is there any wonder why you're 2-9?
Well, he can't do it by himself.
he ain't doing nothing by himself. He could play defense. He could still play his man if he wanted to by himself. He's supposed to do that.
He can't do it by himself, and if a team's not gelling,
I can't hear you. Just speak up. I want everyone to hear this.
I said he can't do it by himself.
He can't play defense on his man by himself.
If he can't win by himself. So if he's not,
but maybe if he played defense on his guy, just play defense. How's he shaming? How is he shaming everybody? Can't we see am I the smartest guy in the room, or am I the only one who has eyes that see this? Did nobody else see this? He's not playing any defense. He won't even trap. His man, he's guarding his man. I'm guarding you, okay? And then another guy on the other team runs right up next to him. He's only 5 feet away. LeBron will not leave his guy to go trap a guy who's 5 feet away and take the ball away. He will not do it. He stands right with his man and looks at the guy 5 feet, and the guy's turned his head. The guy's in perfect position for you to go get the ball. He's not even looking at LeBron. And LeBron will not do it.
He's holding his energy.
That's my point.
Can't work too hard.
Is everybody else catching this? Are we the only ones who see this? He will not even help. Forget about playing his guy who goes right by him. He will not help his teammates on defense. And he just plays the whole sham out by saying, one of the games, in the first 3 games that they lost, he said, well, we played great defense. And I remember watching the game saying, no, they were just missing shots. You weren't playing great defense. And now that these teams are blowing them out 139 to something and just beating the crap out of them, beating the tar out of them, and we can't use that excuse that they have good defense anymore. But now I can't hear you. See, well, he's probably defending LeBron, and my computer has cut him off just for that, for even trying to do it, because you can't do it. It's irrational. It's illogical. It can't be done. And it only can be done on the emotional level of that you like LeBron. Now, I like LeBron. I mean, I don't love him. I don't think, but I got to call out what I see, and that's the reason why his team is losing. There's no wonder why your team is. There's no wonder why the Lakers are. What did they have? They won 2 games. You know what? Go back out and come back in so that we can get you, because I don't want them saying that I'm trying to keep you from speaking your piece because I'm not. But we're going to get to this. And you know what? This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. This is why I like it, because you can't beat this. It's Comedy Central, everybody. Now, do we trust our eyes? I mean, are our eyes lying to us what we see, or should we just believe what's being told to us on TV? Eric has joined. Let's bring Eric back and let's get him on here. Hey, brother, I can hear you now. Talk to me, man. Talk to me. Tell me.
At this point in his career, he's on wait status, so he ain't use up too much energy. He's waiting for his son to come in. So he already knows that team ain't going nowhere.
I hate to tell him this, but basketball is not an heirloom. Okay? It's not something you pass down from father to son. I mean, unless it's fanship, but just you ain't guaranteed a spot out there just because. I mean, the object of the team is to win, and I think everybody on that team wants to win, not just watch LeBron chase stats. There's a problem with this.
Well,
who's entitled to this?
Listen, one thing about it is back in the 80s, one guy could bring a team together and win a championship. Then going into the 80s to the 90s, took 3 guys to go to a team to bring a championship. Now in 2022, they don't know what to do because nobody wants to be a true leader and nobody wants to listen.
You're right. You're totally right. Nobody wants to be a true leader. A true leader in the sense that we knew true leaders, and we're going to go back ways. Bernard King.
Okay.
Ended his career very early, but you go out there and play Isaiah Thomas. You go out there and you put it out there every game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take the slights of the media, but it doesn't matter. You're going to go out there and give it 100% every game, offense, defense, make some steals, make yourself known. Of course, we got to say Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. You're going to go out there and give it make everybody around you better. You don't need 3 superstars around you. You need just you and a couple of good guys, a McHale, a Parrish, and the Dennis Johnson. Now, McHale turned out to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, but for the most part, it was Larry.
Yeah.
And Magic, he always had a boat. And Magic always had Kareem and Cooper and Worthy and everything.
Byron Scott.
Brian, he had Magic always. I always said that if Magic didn't have the boat he had, he would have had a tougher time with the Celtics because he was always carrying the boat. Always. I mean, he was like the Noah's Ark. He had every animal on there.
But he distributed the ball well. A lot of cats.
He did, and he was a leader. I'm not going to take anything away from Magic on that because the Lakers were there before Magic got there. But when Magic got there, they started winning.
That's it.
They did. They started winning championships. They won some playoffs, and they were always at the top of the pack. And when Magic got there, they started winning championships, and that's directly attributable to him.
And that's why they call it team ball. And when you don't team ball, you get what you got. But check it out. Another thing, you check out the numbers. Years ago, you would never see 130 points. Almost, we'll be hitting 140, 150 in the year 2028. Why is that? Why
so they don't allow them to play defense anymore. One thing, you can't, we have the NBA has accorded star treatment to players that if you even breathe on them too hard, they go, ah! And ref, foul. They blow, whoop, whoop, and guys like this. I mean, Patrick Beverly's a little bit off his rocket. I think everybody agrees with that. But he does have a point on some of these players that you can't get close to them.
Yeah.
So the NBA likes to make stars. They used to come out of college. Now they like to make stars. They can tell you who you can foul and who you can't foul. And speaking of which, LeBron says he needs to learn how to flop better. Here's a guy who's been flopping for the last 10 years and has got the benefit of the whistle. Now he doesn't get a call. He chases the referee down. That's how bad he's gotten. And they wonder why this team's losing. Anyway, I just want to ask a question. What team do you think would trade for LeBron James right now?
I don't know.
Me either. And if you have a winning team, you wouldn't want to trade for him because he wants the ball in his hands 75% of the time. I mean, and you got a Donovan Mitchell, or you got a Devin Booker, or you have these young guys that are playing, balling out.
It would kill his spirit.
Yeah, right. They need the ball, not LeBron.
Yeah,
he ain't going to play defense. So you can't say that you want to be a winning team and want him. You'd have to be like the Wizards or some team that's going nowhere. That you can go there and lose and there'll be no expectations because right now they have expectations out in LA. Yeah. Like it or not.
Yeah.
They have expectations out in LA and they're not going to get it done. He's not going to get it done out there. But if they traded him, there might be some team that's not too bright upstairs whose GM thinks this is a great idea and will trade away draft picks for LeBron.
Yeah, they would lose their nucleus with him because he brings a whole nother energy that nobody can deal with anymore. Seems like
nobody can deal with. No, he wants the ball.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I don't think Russell Westbrook's viable either. What team would want Russell Westbrook after watching this debacle?
The retirement team.
The only person I see that has value is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but he's always injured, so people look at that too. How many?
Maybe he's only injured because he plays with LA. They might, he does have potential, which is more than you can say for the other two.
Yeah,
they're going downhill. Anthony Davis is just where he's been. But if he ever gets, healthy, take a year off and get healthy, he might come back and play hard for you, give you 2 or 3 more years.
Maybe.
I would take the chance on Anthony Davis if I had a team.
Yeah.
Now, here's what we got. Lead it. Utah Jazz, number 1. Phoenix Suns, number 2. Portland Trailblazers, number 3. The Denver Nuggets, surprising Denver Nuggets at number 4. The Memphis Grizzlies, number 5. Dallas Mavericks, number 6. LA Clippers, who won last night in LA, at number 7. New Orleans Pelicans with Zion Williamson, who's lost a lot of weight, at number 8. San Antonio Spurs, 9. And the Minnesota Timberwolves at 10 in the Western Conference. I think the surprise of that all is the Utah Jazz. Nobody expected this. 10-3. Last 4 games, they're and playing teams that are above 500, at 500 and above, they're 6-2. So they've been kicking a lot of good teams' butts. Not just bad teams, good teams. Then Phoenix Suns, the drop-off, is 4-2. Portland Trailblazers is 3-2. So Utah is actually showing out, and they have the best record against teams that are 500 and above in the whole NBA. And that's the reason why they're on top in the West. Oh, he just went out again. Hello? Nothing. And I didn't mute him. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't mute him. I'm going to mute him now. And then I just unmuted him. See if that changes anything. We are going to get this thing together. Next time, here's what's going to happen here. He's just going to call me on the phone. And I'm just going to use his voice on the phone and his picture right there. And we're going to run this show because that seems to be the best way that we can get this thing going. It's going to sound 1990s. But something working correctly is better than something that's not working correctly. Because I really need him. I need him to give me some commentary on this. Give me a call back. Let's try this. Zip out, come back in, and see if we can get this thing to end it. Because we're going into the big wrap-up, the final roundup on the Ponderosa. This is the roundup. Jeez, have we been talking? Oh, my gosh. The NBA, whenever we talk the NBA, it is like the longest subject. I'm going to have to cross-clip this and cut it up and sell it in the shorts because there's just so much to talk about in the NBA. Hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
You're back. We've been on this like for 30-something minutes. It just goes by so quickly.
39 minutes, 19 seconds, 20 seconds.
Unbelievable. What's your take on the West?
I think Memphis is going to start to pull up a little bit.
With Ja Morant.
Yeah.
Jaman.
Pull up us. I mean, between Memphis and Utah, they still holding it tight.
Portland with Damian Lillard. They're number 3. Now, somebody said that there was a Portland fan who said he thought it would be a good idea if Braun went to Portland. And I said, how's Damian going to get the ball? Who was thinking of some of these? A lot of people fall in love with names. They don't really put the construction of it together, how it's going to work.
Yeah. And we just don't last forever playing ball,
You cannot last forever.
Yeah.
And then you should have but at least if you're going to be out there, I mean, nobody would begrudge him if he really wanted to win. I wouldn't begrudge him. If you get out there and play some defense, if you can dunk the ball, if you can go on for these dunks I still see you doing, then you can play some damn defense. Excuse my language. So if you're going to show all this when you dunk the ball, just play some defense out there. And then if you win or lose, you left it out on the court. Stop trying to fool everybody.
Play defense and be a ball facilitator. So if you spread that ball around and make everybody else shine, you're doing great. You ain't got it.
Great.
You ain't got it. That's why I like Chris Paul and Well, because they definitely passing the ball. I mean, they'll take they distribute the ball well.
Oh, Chris Paul, he's the meanest mug in the NBA. All 5'2" of them. They don't cross him, Johnny. He'll rip your throat out. And even at age 45, which I believe he is, he plays the game hard. He's a flopper. He's been a flopper for a while, and that's my one thing that I have against Chris. But then again, for his size, I could understand. I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the room. Never has been. I remember one time him and Min Ginobili both fell down after they bumped into each other. They bumped into each other. This was just going down the court. And then they realized they had bumped into each other, and they looked at each other, and they both fell down looking for the foul. Talk about two guys that were made for each other, Manu and Chris, when it came to flopping.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I look for Memphis to come up. Portland Trailblazers, I think they're good as long as Damian Lillard is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because that guy is a boatload. I'm going to be surprised to see what happens with the Pelicans. But the Utah Jazz, with Clarkson and some of these other guys, I think they have a lot of spring to their legs. We'll see what happens when it comes around playoff time in March. We're still a couple of months away from that, and maybe a couple of injuries away. So we'll see what happens. But if they are able to maintain what they're doing, they're going to be tough to beat because they got to have a lot of quickness. Clarkson can score on anybody. They have a couple of guys who can score on anybody. The only team I think that can really match up with them is the team you were talking about, the Grizzlies, with John Morant, Baines, and they have another guy there that they can light it up too. And they have a big guy, Jackson, who gets in the mix. So we'll see what happens. But that's wrapping it up for the Western Conference. Anything you want to say since we've been on for so long here? So we need to close this out because people are going to be like, you guys, will you ever shut up?
Make sure you like us.
Yeah, like us. Subscribe, like us, and buy our T-shirts when we come out with some.
T-shirts and hats.
And get a hat. It's Amazing Grace Sports Network with Clay Morris and Eric James. We give you a perspective, an older perspective, a more mature perspective. We don't curse, we don't swear. You don't see us with cigars and drinking cognac as we talk to you. What we try to give you is a perspective on what wins, what doesn't win, how to be courteous, how to get in the game, how to stay in the game, and some humor. We want you guys to have fun when you watch. So we're not going to totally denigrate anyone. I still respect LeBron James, the player, and I just wish he would play instead of stat chase. I'll just put it that way. Because I think he can. I think he can play some darn defense.
That's all you need. Defense and play defense and pass the ball. You'll still win.
Yeah, they could win games. They probably would have a winning record. Yes, they would have a winning record if he just played some darn defense and passed the ball, not look to be a stat guy scoring, with these fall away threes where he's got to pose. Okay, listen, we're having too much fun here. Listen, man, thank you very much for showing up.
Thank you for
having. We had a couple of things we had to take care of this morning, and we got that finally taken care of, and looks like we might be able to have this thing doing right. So
yes, sir.
I will talk to you soon.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we got to sign out. We got to forget we have people here. Listen, we got to sign on Amazing Grace Sports Network. Eric James, Clay Morris. We are out of here. Peace. Have a good night.
Take care.